Hello, everyone out there in Facebook land. Hope you're having a great day. Ron Callis here with another episode of Automation Unplugged, brought to you by One Firefly. It is about 12:37 here on Wednesday, October 18th. Hope your day is going well. Hope your week is going well. Let me just check real quick on Facebook to make sure our technology is cooperating. Yep, so far we look good. I've got an excellent show lined up for you today. I think, and I hope everyone really enjoys it. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my guest now. I've got Bryan Stanely from Spycom Technology Solutions. Bryan, how you doing, sir?
Doing great, Ron. Happy to be here.
How's Amish country treating you?
Oh, it's cold. It's cold now. But last week it was like summer. So
I was talking to you before we got going about Amish country, and you're like, Ron, there aren't that many Amish people actually here. Is that the case?
We're not all Amish, is what you know. Yeah, it must be the Amish capital of the world, I think. But we have normal civilians here too.
Normal civilian, and so I just want to make sure I get this name correct. So it's Lancaster, Pennsylvania, not Lancaster as.
It's Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Lancaster. Yep.
Did I do it? Did I do it right?
Good enough.
Good enough. All right, I'll take that one. So how's your week going so far, sir?
Oh, it's going great. We have a lot going here, and we got some new things in the works too. So it's always busy here.
So is business in general? I mean, are you busy? Is this a busier time for you? Is it the whole year has been busy, or is it just seasonally busy?
I'd say the whole year has been busy for us, and it's and I'm sure I know we all across the industry we hear it. It's always hard to find enough help. So always looking for new technicians, looking for a project manager, salesperson. So yeah. Keep them very busy.
We're going to get into some of those growing pains. You and I were talking offline about that. It's like when times are slow, you're hurting and you're trying to figure out what to do to get business. And when times are good, you're trying to figure out how to get it all done and keep your clients happy and maintain quality control.
You got it.
It's a challenge.
That seems to be the first thing that suffers.
What's the first thing that suffers?
Customer service.
Yeah. You got any quick answers or shortcuts or magical potions to resolve that for our listening audience?
We're finding that having somebody full-time just to deal with that, to be able to respond quicker, that seems to be working well.
Is that a full-time person managing service?
Full-time person, ready to go. And then even when things are running smooth and there's no immediate service calls, there's always things to update, contact customers, make sure they're good, like that sort of thing. So definitely a full-time job.
Okay, so for our audience, and by the way, if you're out there watching this live, please like this post, or I guess we call it a stream. Like the stream, share the stream so that your friends in the industry can see this interview and hopefully either enjoy or appreciate the conversation, or perhaps have a takeaway or two. So please do that out there if you're out there in Facebook land. And if you're watching after this has gone up on our website, then please like it and share it as well. There's no reason to wait. So Bryan, a little bit about you and your background. I know that back in 2012 you were voted or I guess it was nominated by CE Pro as one of the industry's rising stars, and you're growing and have been growing a very successful central Pennsylvania located integration firm, and outside of that, you're also a pilot, if I'm correct. Is that right? You like to fly airplanes?
Absolutely. It's been about 6 or 7 years now, just for fun. Yep. Just
for fun. Well, if you don't mind. Help my audience understand a little bit of your background. How did you end up in the custom integration space? And how did that come about?
Well, Ron, I've always been into electronics. Even my first day of, I think it was first grade or kindergarten, I was late. My mom got me up late. So the second day, I figured out how to set my alarm clock so I can get up on my own. And after that, she had said, you know what, I think you're going to be good with electronics.
Okay. Did you figure out how to, were you also the guy that programmed the VCR?
Yeah, I was the appointed, family VCR programmer guy. That, you know what, we didn't even have a VCR like back then. We were one of the last ones to get one, actually. But yes, yeah. Even today, every time we visit Grandma, got to program the VCR. Even today. But
in terms of your first career, though, as it relates to this industry, did you start at an integration firm, or where did you start?
So I was in high school, really into electronics and into cars. So obviously the car audio thing was a good fit for me then. I spent most of my senior year in high school building speaker boxes in the wood shop because I had all my credits in. So people would come to me and I would do that. Got a job here at the local car audio dealer. And as I matured, it went from cars to homes, so that kind of took a forefront. Went through electronics school. I traveled for a bit and worked in the telecom industry for a while, so I did kind of get away from it a while, but I never lost interest in AV. So I kind of came back to it and wanted my own business, decided to start my own thing, and that's when I actually helped that old employer. He had some trouble programming remotes, and his guys would go out for 8 hours, try to program a remote, and wouldn't get anywhere. So he kind of brought me on board, and I started doing that. Really enjoyed that, helping how I could help people with electronics, and sort of found through that, and kind of more so under his wing, I found a better way to do it, so then I went out on my own to do that.
How long ago was that? How long ago did you start your own operation?
So officially, I was in business here as Spycom Technology Solutions for about 11 years now.
11 years, always based in Lancaster, Pennsylvania?
You got it.
Do you generally work on projects in your, within 100 miles of your office, or do you work regionally? I mean, will you go up to New York? Will you go up to, down to Atlanta? Or do you stay right where you're at?
Day to day, it's mostly here, but I always like to go out anytime that I can write off flying in the airplane. More than happy to do it. So the good thing is we have some customers around here that have beach homes, that sort of thing. So I get to jump in the airplane, take the techs out to a job, a little further away. We're even considering doing a little Florida, like Marco Island tour. There seems to be a lot of people here that have homes in Marco Island, and they said, hey, why don't we go down, can you come down there and help us out there? So we're looking at possibly doing that. But the majority of our work is right around here in central Pennsylvania. Okay.
Now, your name, Spycom, I know when I first met you, Bryan, I thought by your name maybe you were a security outfit, and you quickly corrected me. Is there any particular meaning behind the name of your company, and do you mind sharing where did you derive that name, Spycom Technology Solutions?
Yeah, our name doesn't really say exactly what we do, and that's kind of been painful for us. We've actually looked at changing it quite a few times, but people like it. We're kind of well known, and we're sort of sticking with it. But so back about 11 years ago, I was helping out that old boss I had, and I actually, bad business decision. I didn't want to offend him, so I didn't want to choose a name that competed with him or kind of had audio in it. Like I said, looking back, it was probably a bad decision, but it got us through. And I ended up doing a lot of. At the time, I had a lot of customers calling me to install cameras, networks. Even since I have a little bit of telecom background, we did some phone systems back then. So the spy kind of was derived from surveillance cameras. The com was more for, communications, like phone systems, networks, that sort of thing. So that's how we came up with the name Spycom Technology Solutions. But pretty much from the get-go, I would get calls from people around here. They knew me as an AV guy. They knew me as a problem solver. And so we were pretty much out of the gate with programming custom systems and custom AV remotes, that sort of thing. So from the beginning, we've been doing it. But
what are your bread and butter type projects today? What sort of, if a customer calls and has X type of project that makes you really happy, what is that type of project?
Mostly in the home space. We do like commercial stuff, but obviously home automation is really our bread and butter. And then, of course, when you get into home automation, you're doing a lot of all the other things, audio, audio, video, distribution, that sort of thing. Just like the majority of our listeners here. But so we still do the surveillance camera thing, but it's not like as prominent like the name.
Did you go out to CEDIA this past September?
Of course, I wouldn't pass up a chance to go to San Diego. What a beautiful place, right?
Exactly. Speaking of write-offs, right? That's a good business trip.
And now I did fly commercial. That would have been a little too slow in the Cessna.
Yeah. What does it Cessna cruise at? Like maybe 175?
No, like 115 knots.
Okay. Yeah, that would have taken a little bit to get to California.
It's slightly better than driving. But
slightly better than driving.
Much better experience, though, and no traffic.
Yeah, for sure. So what were some of the takeaways from you from CEDIA? Anything that stood out? Do you go for the products, or do you go for, hanging out with your industry buddies or your reps? What was memorable for you?
I'm a relationship kind of guy. I really like the relationships. The people in our business, I think, are really cool people. So I really enjoy hearing stories of understanding that I'm not alone. A lot of the issues that we face, there's other dealers out there kind of facing the same thing. So it's always nice to get together with our peers. So that's the biggest reason why I like to go. Obviously to see the new stuff, but with social media and all that, you kind of see the new stuff as it comes out anyway. So it's more so the camaraderie.
So you mentioned the relationships. What do you do as a business owner? And I'm sure you wear, like many business owners, a lot of hats in your business. You're the chief cook and bottle washer, depending on the needs of the business. What have you done, if anything, to carve out times, whether it be during your week or your month, to in fact network or talk to other business owners, whether they be AV integration business owners or even other types of business owners? I mean, do you try to make that a part of your routine, talking to other owners that might have some perspectives or takeaways for you?
Well, absolutely. I think that we can learn from anybody. So I wouldn't say so much it's like I'm talking to other AV dealers every day, although, I like to. We just recently had a ProSource dinner we went to. It was really helpful to hear the other dealers there. But
Bobby Dodge just liked this stream, yeah. So Bobby's watching you.
All right.
Hey, Bobby. So,
you get out in the community, go to events, talk to other people. Our industry, we're not the only service industry. I find that you can learn a lot from just about any other business. HVAC is service oriented. I do actually put a lot of processes in place here that I learned from customers and who own like HVAC systems or HVAC dealers. Even like car dealerships and that sort of thing. You can learn from those guys too. So I'm always learning. As a matter of fact, I have a lunch coming up. One of my good customers, he had quite a life as a high executive, and we're going to go do lunch. And I just want to talk to him and just kind of pick his brain and hear about his past and anything I can learn from that. So I think that customers like that too. You call them up and say, hey, let's do lunch and just talk about life, learn a lot.
That's pretty cool. Speaking of that, do you design a plan for your business? I don't want to put you on the spot, and we haven't talked preemptively about that, but do you have ambitions for where you want this business to be, say 3 years from now, 5 years from now? And do you work towards a plan with the actions you take every quarter?
Yeah, we do it a little differently. We do set goals, of course. That's the biggest thing, but we don't track them on like a quarterly basis, like a sales quarter. I always find it funny when our vendors are calling us up at the end of the quarter, like trying to get the number up. It's like I figure it all flows into the next. It's so quarterly goals aren't really our thing, but we definitely have goals that we work for towards. I mean, there's so many, like short term, long term, and I think that what really helps with that is getting the team involved rather than it just be at a management level. We have meetings where we share how we're doing on our goals really weekly, whether the target's far out or whether it's that month.
Okay, well, that makes sense, and that's good to know. You had mentioned a little bit ago that you're very busy and that managing and maintaining customer service or quality service for your install customer base is of a primary focus for you right now. And do you feel that you have that one nicked and that you've figured out how to do it, or is it a work in progress? And can you just expound on that a little bit further in case there are others watching that maybe are in a similar boat? I mean, I know many folks around the country are very busy right now. So maybe some of the tips and tricks that you've implemented and what your success or results have been?
Well, I certainly don't have it all figured out by any means. But I just like I said about how learning from other industries, I've sort of adopted some of their styles, and it's really helped us to be a little more proactive. And I know that, I mean, over the years, it's pretty obvious that you have customers that have immediate needs. I mean, just the other night, a customer texted me late at night because he went to sit down and turn on cable, watch a little news, and it was a blank screen, and it's like immediately we get blamed for that. It ended up being a cable company problem, and it resolved itself within a matter of like 10 minutes. But, when something like that happens, they immediately think it's our fault. And if you have the relationship that I do with my customers, I mean, I'm getting text immediately, but we have a good way to, I think we have a good way to combat that. But everything's just so immediate. And
so what have you done to get past that demand from that client that thinks it's your fault, and they're calling you at 10 o'clock on Friday night when they want to watch their pay-per-view UFC fight or something, and the TV doesn't turn on? I mean, that your clients expect that white glove treatment, exactly. Right? They expect that immediacy.
Exactly.
How do you or how have you heard other integrators are dealing with that?
Well, we don't have it nailed down precisely, but I can tell you what we do. I think it helps is we have a tech that's, like I said, dedicated 24 hours. Like, that's his job. Actually, the 24-hour thing, the emergency thing is like after hours, we all share a role. So my technicians and even myself will be like on call that week. But we don't want to just open it up to anybody and make everything free, obviously, because I feel like our business, it kind of came up in the ProSource dinner here last week too. We have like the best customer service in the world, I feel, and most of us give it away. So we're trying to capitalize on that a little bit better, and I find that a lot of the issues that creep up, like maybe like a cable box needs rebooted or something like that, sort of ends up solving itself, especially if you have systems in place to do that, like we do. So what may seem like an immediate need to a customer ends up, sort of resolving itself. So we have an emergency line. You call in, you call our main number, press 3 for emergency at emergency rate. So we put it up front, like it's going to cost you money if we have to come out. So we're able to kind of weed through, and if it's really a problem for a customer, he'll press 3 and he'll get through to us, and they're willing to pay a substantial fee for us to come out immediately to deal with that. And like I said, it weeds out true emergencies. and then we know that we're not just jumping and doing it for free. And I think that there's a level of value then, that the customer sees in that.
There's been a movement, I've talked about it a few times with different guests here on Automation Unplugged, that there's a movement in this industry, at least that I'm perceiving, that some of the service-based companies are the monitoring technology companies. So there's monitoring technology built into various pieces of network hardware. There's companies like Ahiji and Domot and perhaps a few others that are trying to put technology pieces or monitoring devices into the home. And then you, from the integration side, would perhaps preemptively understand network traffic or issues if things are going offline, and thus maybe being in a position to do a service model or a maintenance model with a customer. And, I'm hearing varying levels of success of people trying to implement that across the country. And I was just curious, have you guys as Spycom, have you tried to implement such a strategy? And if so, what have been your successes or failures on that front?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we do everything. We set us up for remote service the absolute best we can. I mean, there's just sometimes you have to go out. But you know what? We really concentrate here. I understand my employees have a life, outside of this, and I do too. So we try to make it as easy on ourselves as possible to service the customer the best way possible. If we would get a call late at night, one of the first things we're doing is we're looking in. We use Pack Edge, we use Oversee. We try to set those up so that we can respond remotely without having to roll a truck, and it definitely helps. As far as maintenance goes, the guy that we have that's on his full-time job is to make sure that our service is taken care of. He's always looking for checking in with customers, making sure that they're maintained, that sort of thing. As far as a maintenance plan put in place, I'll have to admit we don't have a good one. I don't think anybody says that theirs is great.
I haven't heard anyone say they had a great one yet, but I keep fishing for it.
But I think the best thing that we can do, which leads into a maintenance type of plan, is to set the expectations up front with the customer. That's one thing that we found to be helpful. I don't think there's any system that we've actually sold that never needed any maintenance. And I know that. I do a lot of the sales, and I know that as a salesperson, you want to promise the world, you want to, hey, no, we're never going to have any problems, sir. Just hey, can you sign here and give us your deposit? I mean, that's kind of what we want to say, and we want to believe that their system's going to run perfect, nonstop. But the reality of it is, we definitely do have to go back and maintain that system. So we have to set the expectation with the customer up front, make sure that they know that, and they know that it's going to happen. We'll be calling them.
So just to jump topics here, you're located in central Pennsylvania, and I picked on you and said, in the middle of Amish country. And the vision that comes to mind is not a market that maybe is in high demand of technology and automations, and that's being judgmental and probably clearly not fair. So I was just curious, what does the demand for technology look like in your market? And do you think that you have to be in, quote, the big city to be driving and pushing automation technologies? Or do you think, or from your experience, is that demand really anywhere in the country?
I believe it's everywhere in the country. Just here in Lancaster, we're slower to adopt it. And I'm still struggling with that. I talk to my buddies down in Houston, and the builders are banging on their door. They need this stuff.
Texas is just an anomaly all in and of itself. Texas is super and bigger than life in every way. At least that's been my experience in dealing with all the businesses down there. It's the fun market.
It's just we're a lot slower to adopt things here, but it comes around. And as far as big cities and all that, we do some work down in Baltimore, Philly area, and I'd say that if we were located in a bigger city, we would definitely do a higher volume. But we've been pretty good here, being very profitable here, and I would say if I was in a bigger city, I'd probably have a lot more techs, like that sort of thing. But
more employees doesn't necessarily mean a better business, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I think that one thing about what we do here is I think that we really do a good job at making a lot out of a little.
What's a typical project for you? What is the type of installed system that would be your bread and butter?
The bread and butter. When I think bread and butter, I think just small home automation system. It might be like a main great room, master bedroom, and some maybe like 4 to 8 zones of audio is sort of our bread and butter, more entry level system. So we'll do a lot of jobs like that. Now, not to say that we don't get the couple $100,000 jobs, even commercial jobs, and we're definitely capable to handle that as well. We just did a really cool basement job here, but it's getting closer to Philly now. But it was about $100,000 job where we did a 120-inch screen innovation screen, a tiler, that sort of thing. Guy was into sports, and it turned out really cool. But I'd say the majority of our work is a few rooms, home automation. People love door locks, and they like to see who's at their front door.
So we might have some people watching that are newer in business, whether they're in senior leadership positions or owner-operators. And you've been at this, Bryan, for 11 years, and you've learned, I'm assuming, quite a few things along that path. Any tips or advice that you would give that newer business owner?
I think one thing that I learned over the years is and this is kind of what got us started, is to look at it from the customer's perspective. I don't believe the customer's always right, but you still want to see it from their perspective. I mean, that's how, from the beginning, we've programmed systems, and it's all about the customer is the one using this, not, once we walk out the door, they're left with it. So, do it from that point of view. We do the same thing with customer service too, and especially in a time where everything needs to be so immediate. We make sure that we keep the common things on the truck. Like, we walk into a customer's house, and let's say they called us because they want like a remote control or a door lock or a light switch or something, and we find that their Wi-Fi is terrible. We're prepared for that. We have those systems on the truck ready to go. We prepare our technicians with proposal software where they could whip up a quote in a matter of minutes, get the signature right on the iPad. And
what is that software, if you don't mind sharing?
Actually, we've found success with sales tools. Just like anything else, it takes a while to set up right. But we use sales tools to manage our techs, and a schedule. We use field service management through QuickBooks. I think everybody's looking for the perfect software, but I think we're doing well with that. And it's all about preparedness. We don't like to revisit customers. We would rather, if they need something, have it, sell it, install it on the spot, take the payment on the spot. We have our technicians trained where they'll take payment, they'll invoice it, take payment right there. That way we don't have to do it in the office. I'd say, and I also say time kills deals. So if we can be there, do the proposal, have the stuff, invoice it, and get payment on it the same day. I mean, that's just amazing. Isn't that what we all want?
I follow that art form as well. You probably would attest to that, right? It's nothing like closing the deal when someone expresses interest. And speaking of sales, you, in fact, were telling me a bit of an anecdote, something that you had just experienced this weekend. And you were, in regards to selling and selling strategies. Do you mind sharing that story in terms of your takeaway from that experience with that car sale?
Car sale, okay. Well, about a month ago, my girlfriend decided to get a new car. She said she thought it was time. So she was ready to make the switch from BMW to Mercedes-Benz. So she had a certain model in mind that she liked. We went and visited a Benz dealer, and to our surprise, they actually did not have the model she wanted on the lot anywhere. And the salesperson was great guy. We really liked him. We spent the majority of the day there going through what she wants and looking at custom ordering a car, that sort of thing. I mean, he was a really great guy and the kind of guy that you want to buy from. We would even be willing to spend a little more just so we can to buy from him. But he didn't have anything, you know. And in this whole time of everybody wants it now, when you make a decision, you want something. It's you know, we want it now. So obviously we left there with a few good ideas, and just like anybody else, we checked the other dealership across town. Went there. They had the model she wanted, but they didn't have exactly what she wanted. So that salesman worked it a little differently. He ended up coming up with a solution on the spot, which you know, in hindsight, I look at him and say, wow, that guy was a genius. He got her into a car very similar to what she wanted, told her that she can order what she wants. In 6 months, it'll be in, and already worked a deal on buying this new car she's taking home today, buy that back in 6 months, and she'll have the car that she wants because we're going to order it, you know. And I thought that was genius. I mean, he totally stole the sale from the other guy because he came up with a solution, and she was ready to buy. He had sort of what she wanted, and in the end here, she's going to get what she wants. So I thought that was a pretty genius idea.
So how do you implement that or try to implement that in your own business? Were there any takeaways or you know, metaphors there for you and how you run your business or how you sell?
Yeah, I mean, it happened very recently here. It just made you think. It makes you think. But one of the things we do kind of along those lines is, like I said, we try to stock our trucks with common products, like things that we commonly need. I mean, obviously we would pull 18 wheelers if we had to, you know. I mean, if we had to stock everything, but just the basic things that we kind of go through a lot. You know, I mean, we're a Control 4 dealer, so like the EA1 bundle, the EA3 bundle, like that sort of thing. You know, we'll do WAPs and all that, and we just are ready to respond if a customer. We're in front of the customer. That's the best time to get them. That's the best time to make the sale, and we are prepared to do that.
Got it. Awesome. So that's the advice: is to be prepared with common items that you know you're going to need or that clients might ask for, and that immediacy enables you to make the sale right there on the spot.
And if I can add to that, if you don't have it, we have our technicians, well, they have sales tools on their laptops. They can pull out sales tools, do a quote on the spot, get approval, and get the deposit check. Also, schedule the install right on the spot. So if you don't have it, I mean, they're locked in. They signed it. They signed the approval. They gave you the deposit, and they're already scheduled for the install. So we know we got that sale. So you don't have to have the product.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, Bryan, you've been very generous with your time today, sir. And we try to keep these to around 30 minutes, approximately 30 minutes or so. And I think we're right around 33 minutes at the moment. So thank you very much. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with me and our audience.
Absolutely, Ron. It was a pleasure.
Awesome, buddy. All right, everybody. There you have it. That was Bryan Stanely with Spycom Technology Solutions. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Automation Unplugged. And I will see you next week. We'll have another fun guest, and we'll keep it going. And by the way, if you are enjoying these and you'd like to see somebody in particular on the show, please just shoot me an email. It's Ron at One Firefly. Or you can go over to our website, onefirefly.com. You can see all the past episodes, all of our guests, and we'll keep it going. So on that note, have an excellent rest of your Wednesday. Have a great week, and we will see you guys on the flip side. Thanks so much.